Hello, hello, hello. BetOnline is your number one source for the NBA and NHL playoffs this season. Every stat, every matchup, and even live odds while the games are being played. When the game's over, head on over to our online casino and get in on a game of blackjack or poker, or unwind with one of our 150 slot games. Head to the website today and get in on the action. Don't forget to use promo code BLEAV for your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet online, the game starts here. This episode of Private Talk is sponsored by Alexis Token. Remember, everything's bigger in Texas. It's Private Talk Podcast with Alexis, Texas, and we're back, season 2, and we have the pleasure of having the lovely, sexy Siri Dahl.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm good. Finally, nicely have you here, getting the Private Talk couch. We want to know all about you, how you've been doing during this pandemic time, now that the world's opening up. What are you into? We want to know it all here at Private Talk.
Great. Thank you so much for having me. Well, I have been enjoying the pandemic. I'm kind of sorry to say, like, it's kind of
Don't
nice
be sorry. I
to
feel like
be able to
everybody's
just
had their own experiences.
It's been like slower, but that's not always a bad thing. And it's just been a really nice opportunity to focus more on like making my own content and building that up. So, and I also was in the adult business, then left, then came back, and I came back like basically a month before the pandemic started. So it was kind of like I came back and I was thinking I'm gonna have a year ahead of me of like all these shoots and coming out to LA because I don't live here. And it ended up being like a year of me staying at home and just like making content with my boyfriend, which I'm also quite happy to do. So
how was that adjustment? I mean, because you went from being like, because it's like really high highs and then you're like, wait, what do I do? And then, you know what I mean? But the cool thing, like you said, is being a content creator, you have the kind of capability to do those things yourself, but we didn't really realize it. You know what I mean? It's not that we didn't realize it, it was just now it made it like we had to figure out what we were doing.
Yeah, that's exactly what it's been. It's like, figuring out what we're doing and like, one cool thing is like some of the the bigger studios in adult have been doing their like, it's not so much now that everything's opening up again, but I remember like over like, especially last summer, there were a lot of like, shoot this home shot scene, and that's kind of fun.
Like boyfriend experience kind of thing?
Yeah, exactly. Like that type of thing. And it was kind of fun because my boyfriend's a civilian, he's not a porn star. So he's happy to shoot content with me though. Like we've kind of been doing that since
Can we talk a little bit about that, about your relationship? So did he know prior to, obviously you weren't with him when you started in the industry, so he knew that. Were you with him when you decided to go back and try it again before the pandemic? Or how did he was he very supportive? Because some people it's kind of the in between. It's like they like the porn star like idea, and then they're like, no, I don't want you to go to work. And you're like, but work is how I pay for things and how I make a living. And
dated dudes like that. Oh my God, yes, I've been there. And it's also kind of like one of those things where since I had relationships like that in the past, I kind of had that trial and error
away from them.
Yeah, and I learned pretty quickly, honestly, like in my dating life, because I started in porn in 2012. Then I was active for about 3 years. I left in January 2015. So I had stopped shooting by January 2015. And I moved out to Kentucky, so like out in the middle of nowhere, and like that's where I live still, and that's where my boyfriend is as well. And so
what brought you there? Is that where you're from?
No, I'm actually from Texas, I moved out there because my family moved out there, and so I moved out there just so I could like see my parents more often, basically. And that was great. That worked out, and I actually really like it out there. But it's been kind of funny seeing how like I've kind of like gotten to teach my boyfriend in a way about the adult industry, like what things are like, because he didn't have much knowledge of it other than being like a consumer of porn
kind of thing.
Yes, exactly. And so he's super open-minded about it. And I mean, I met him at a time in my life where I was already totally over like dating anyone who was judgmental about my past. So by the time I started dating him, I was still in retirement, but it was something that, I talked to him about. I was like, I think I'm going to go back into the industry. And he was like totally cool with it, And I don't think he anticipated me then eventually being like, do you want to shoot with me? But then when that started happening, he was totally cool with that. So
y'all are doing it anyway. So you're like, come on now,
Yeah.
Like, but some people, kind of shy away from it, or they don't, they get intimidated about like kind of like they think the bigger picture is really less, like more than what it really is, when it's like smoke and mirrors and some, aspects of it kind of thing.
Yeah.
So are you, because the industry's kind of opened back up, are you back just shooting with other people, or are you now only shooting with him?
Yeah, no, I'm shooting with other people. Like I'm out here this week because I'm shooting, and I mean, I basically do the like back and forth thing. It's a little exhausting, but like I'm basically flying out to LA like once a month. Or once every 6 weeks minimum. But like I'm out here all the time and I just kind of bounce back and forth, but I primarily still live in Kentucky just because I kind of enjoy the slower pace of life.
So why do you think that, like, why do you feel like you choose to still come back if that's something that maybe you don't want to do with your OnlyFans and doing your own stuff? Is that something you can't still do in Kentucky by yourself? Or is it just because the lack of talent, I guess because your boyfriend is the only one that you're shooting with?
I mean, yes, it's
I'm sure
definitely
there's not a lot of girls
partially
in
that.
Kentucky. Well, who knows? I don't know. Nowadays, everyone has an OnlyFans, so you'd be surprised.
If there are, I don't know. If there was any girls in Kentucky
Private talk. Listen, if there's any listeners out there who, watchers out there who lives in Kentucky, wants to do some content with my friend, and you're hot, there has to be requirements.
Yeah, professionals, please. No random fans. They get that. That's implicated, but. So yes, it's a combination of lack of talent out there that would be ready to shoot with.
But are you still like? Because the thing is, like, it's just excitement. Like, is it like
I like traveling out here, and
but I mean just like the performers, not just for traveling, girl. You're having sex. That's kind of a big deal. Most viewers in our people out there, it's their job is not as glorious as where you get to go and have sex with a performer.
Absolutely not. Yeah.
It's like, do you have like porn boyfriend, girlfriends kind of things? Like where it's like you see that, habitual person all the time and you're just like, oh, it's good.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Robbie Echo's my like porn husband, we joke. Because like when I met him, we just clicked immediately and we're like still really good friends. Like I live with him when I'm here in LA. So like,
It's been so long ago. I don't even remember my porno boyfriend. I mean, there was like a long time. I haven't shot a scene in so long. Like 4 years. But yeah, definitely had several. But it's just like because people think like, oh, there's so many people, and it's really a really small industry. You kind of see the same type of people,
boys,
and like the same. Especially if you work for the same companies more than once, kind of like more often, kind of thing.
Yeah, companies tend to find one male performer, or maybe 2 or 3 male performers that they like, that they're like, this is the core cat, and they just hire the same dudes over and over.
Like, I mean, I was, a director at the end of my career as well, and it was, you have to really rely on a lot of things. If like you're going to show up, you're paying for location, and those are the things behind the scenes that everybody doesn't see, and it's like movie magic, and then you come for all you can see each other. You're welcome. You're welcome.
You don't see all the blood, sweat, and tears and the stress.
But that's also cool. Like the, for me, like artistic part of it was like, it is, art in a lot of ways, and you're kind of, painting a picture and a sexual picture to get people off. I always say like people helping people one orgasm at a time.
I love that.
I heard that one time and I kind of just stuck with it, and I just think it's a beautiful thing and it fits so well in porn.
It does. It fits really well. And I think it's more important now than ever, to remember that. I feel like what we do in our industry is really, really valuable. And it's like, I mean, I'm sure you get this all the time with a massive fan base. Like, you get fans or just people who write to you and like, you learn that you actually change people's lives in a lot of ways with your content, and it's incredibly meaningful. And like, you can look at it through like the low end of it being like, oh, some dude's just jerking off and coming to this, and like, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. That's very valuable in itself. But
it's also job done.
Yeah, but then it's like, I'll never like one of my favorite fan mails I ever got back in the day was this guy who wrote me about like how he'd been married for like 12 years and his partner had an accident, and like for medical reasons they physically could not have sex with each other. And it was like something where his partner liked me, so they both agreed like they liked me and they thought I was like their favorite girl in porn to look at, so they would watch my scenes together, and it would like be a thing that they could bond over because they weren't able to have sex with each other.
But they could have sex with each other apart. I mean, like get off by themselves.
I think what it was is that he was getting off and his partner was like there as like emotional support, but literally could not physically participate. I don't remember specifically why, but it might have been that she was paralyzed or something like that. But it was
because why I asked in that level was because of like you're still both watching porn. Is it stimulating on a level just like mentally or like physically, but you're not doing it together? But it's just difficult. That's why for me, when I would do signings and stuff in the beginning, it's very self-satisfying when you would hear and why I never felt a type of way or shameful of the industry or what my career, what I chose to do and be in it, because it was very like, thank you for, being you and being comfortable in your own skin. I'm not the skinniest girl. I'm very curvy. I have, whatever. They're like, I feel comfortable in my skin because of you. I feel more beautiful. And just hearing those kinds of affirmations, and not that I needed it, but it definitely helped in those times when you're like, oh, I do make a difference.
Yeah, it's
you know what I mean.
Yeah,
But because people get suppressed, and people, people's ideas of sex and everything kind of changes. And even with me being in the industry when I first started 21 to where I am now being 36, and I'm not in the industry anymore, but having had that experience within it, and how sex is it can be very physical and non-emotional, and it can be things that how you use it for, and it just evolves over time naturally. So I feel like because of porn, it really stimulates people on the outside, people who aren't doing it, because it kind of releases those kind of fetishes that they feel it's okay to spread to the world, which I think is a beautiful thing.
Yeah, that's one of the things that actually led me missing that whole vibe. And I love the way you just described it as one of the things that primarily led me back into doing porn again and coming out of retirement, because I was happy enough with the jobs that I did. I wouldn't say that any of them were particularly fulfilling.
Did you actually go back to a 9-to-5?
Yeah, I did. I went, it was wild because, I go from...
Sorry about that. I don't know why. Apparently every day at this time it comes around, but here we go again.
We got to test the fire alarm or something. But yeah, I wouldn't, let me go back and start that sentence again. I went from I kind of quit at the height of my career in, late 2014 was when I officially stopped accepting shoot bookings and stuff. And then within 2 months, I was I'm out, I'm moving to Kentucky. But, and it was very not spur of the moment, but it was such a drastic change, to go from living in LA to living in
what
the
was
South.
There was something that happened, particularly that made you want to go back, or were you just my time is over, I'm just done with it?
It was, there wasn't a one event that happened. It was kind of a cumulative thing. And I don't want to get into it too deeply, just because I feel I've talked about it a lot in other interviews. My fans who would watch this, they'd probably already heard me talk about it. But the easiest way to put it is I was actually really depressed, and I was depressed because of stigma coming from my family over my career choice that I didn't know how to navigate, and also just being in a really bad relationship. The relationship I had with my ex, someone that I'm not with anymore, back then was just, I struggled really hard with how do I get out of this relationship, and ultimately I felt the only way to get out of it and to try to fix my relationship with my family was to just leave porn and move away.
From it,
yeah. And so I kind of hit a reset button, and it helped a lot. My mental health immediately improved, not because I wasn't doing porn, because I never had a problem with that, but just because I completely changed the circumstances that my life was a part of.
You the other outside chatter kind of needed to be eliminated,
Yeah.
and that was the focus of where it was, I guess, maybe stemming from.
Yeah, exactly. And so I got out of that relationship. I moved to Kentucky. I basically just got a civilian job. It wasn't even anything cool or fun in the beginning. And then, after a couple years out there, I was the last job I had before I decided to come back into the industry was as an editor. So I was doing copywriting and editing for a magazine company, and it was great work. I really enjoyed it, and I was using my brain, and I was using my actual degree, so that was cool. But also I at the end of the day, I was still man, I'm really overwhelmed, and this isn't fulfilling in any way that I wanted it to be. And I found myself just missing doing sex work, a lot, because there's what you just described, going back to that the way that you kind of described the vibe that I like in the industry. A lot of it comes down to open-mindedness and having this feeling of connection.
You have people it's that like-mindedness where it's maybe I'm not so bad. Maybe because I like sex doesn't mean that I'm a bad person. It just means there's other people too. You know what I mean? It's just identifying yourself. And I think that the older that we get, and you see things and experience as well too, and just finding your voice as a female and even an adult entertainer, it's very hard. And in the world that is out there now, because of so many stigmas of this and people wanting to be this, and all these things that people think you're supposed to be, where it's you're just trying to figure out who you are internally, and so that's already a struggle. So that's really cool that you did something for yourself to get who you are now, because it also led you back to what you liked, and that was the adult industry.
Yeah, and it's even better the second time. Everything about it, it's I don't feel, Whereas when I first started, like I was actually sort of old in porn years for when I first started an adult.
I hate that term. But okay, what
I had turned 24 when I shot my first
That is so
film.
not old. And that whole thing, like even.
Oh, I don't agree with it either. That's me putting like
me.
quotes around like old.
Yes.
Like, I don't believe in that.
Yes, like consider, like I should have been a MILF a long time ago. I have a problem with that. I have no children and I'm still young. Like they try to age you before you're 24. You're young and beautiful. But yes, okay, go on.
I definitely.
I didn't put that little rant in there if you're listening.
I love
but
that
it's
rant.
true. It's because it's like, you know, women, like again, going back to like women's perception of like who they look up to or what we're supposed to, you know, why we go Botox and why we wear the clothes we do, that like imitations of what you're trying to obtain. It's like, why should a 24-year-old feel old? Like enjoy your youthful, like, you know, your youthful years.
I know. And it's wild that I even felt that pressure of the age thing.
But
and
it's
I didn't
society,
feel it
it's
too
not
much.
you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's society. It's just.
Look at you now.
I know. It's funny because I think I look better in many ways than I did back then. And
It's
I'm
like
33
fine
now.
wine,
Like,
you get better with time. That's what I like to say. And I like to drink wine. So, you know, it fits.
fine wine, yes. Rosé specifically because I have pink hair now.
I like the pink. It's cute.
Thank you. Yeah, like it's just been even better coming back and realizing like, wow, I've matured quite a bit. Like I've had this other career experiences like outside of the adult industry, which was my first real career experience when I started at 24. So finding the success in adult, then leaving at the height of that success and totally like kind of throwing it away, and then coming back 5 years after this long hiatus, and I'm realizing like this is more fulfilling than it was before, and also I feel way more empowered. I never felt disempowered before, but there's definitely a little bit of like, I don't know if I want to call it like a hierarchy, but there's a confidence I have now that is literally just because I'm older and I'm more mature that I did not have before. So I feel like I can stand better on my own 2 feet, and, you know, even down to like, you know, when
You're not walking in blindly, you know, you kind of like have a,
yeah.
you know, sense of direction of some sort, you know.
Exactly. You know, and even like having to, like I still have to have the talk with people who I know in my personal life or like that I meet. Where I have
quotes,
to,
you like these air quotes.
Oh yeah, I do the air quotes a lot. But the talk is like, you know, when someone doesn't know what I do for a living and I tell them for the first time.
So how does that talk go? Tell private talk. If you were, you know, going to date somebody and it was like, there's like we call civilian that's not in the adult industry, how does this talk like happen? And does it happen after like, hi, my name is, or does this like after the first time meeting someone like for a while, and then it's like, how do you know when the talk is supposed to happen?
It entirely depends on the relationship dynamic at hand. So I'm not like actively dating now since I've got my boyfriend, we've been together for a while, but if I like, when I was actively dating, like I wouldn't like come out and be like, hi, and like introduce myself and then immediately say like, I did porn. Like, but it would come up pretty soon. And I did that on purpose. Like I wanted to bring it up. I wanted it to be an early topic that I would broach because
But you literally said those words.
I'm weeding them out, basically.
But you literally said, I did porn. Or I do porn, or like what?
Yeah.
Like
yeah. I would be very blunt.
But
about
that
it.
blunt about it, yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Like hey, so I used to do
But
porn.
but do you think that it was like for like a boastful thing, or just to like state like you said, weeding it out to be like, are you ready to deal with me or not? Because then
It was
that also,
the latter,
but
yeah.
that also warrants people to be like, oh, you are, and then because that's my problem with dating is like, who are you dating? Alexis Texas or Alexis, because there's 2 different people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's why I don't really say it as quickly. I always like allude, and I don't say it as bluntly. If you want to like tell, I usually go the route of like, hey, my Instagram is this, and then you can figure out what's going on.
That's actually what I do.
Like, and
I've been doing that lately.
And then they'll be like, you're lying. I'm like, why would I lie to you? Okay, like, get away from me. And then that weeds them out too, you know what I mean? But it's like, why do I need to lie about somebody and be like, hey, you know what I mean? But that's how I would gradually go. Because you never know. Like, you can go either way.
Yeah.
Either way. Okay, but now, this is your talk, not mine.
I just try to get a sense for it too, you know? Like,
So have you ever hooked up with a fan? Like in one of those situations and they're like, okay, cool, show me. Or does it go, are you enticed, or you're like, get away from me?
Like, there was one thing that happened. It was shortly after I, you know, had made the announcement that I had
That one time.
taken a break, right? And this is like after I had moved out to Kentucky, and I went on a date with this guy, and like, we went on a couple dates and we had sex a few times, and then it was like way after the fact. And I stopped seeing him just because there was something he did that I was like, fuck this guy. But either way, there was a conversation later on where he was like, oh, I recognize you immediately. Like, I knew who you were the whole time.
So he didn't tell you?
But he withheld that, and that's where I was like, oh, that's gross. I don't like that.
He watched you sleep, girl, for sure.
Like, it's just so creepy.
For sure. I always get that because, like, I've had friends, and they're like, he for sure knows you are. And I'm like, no, he says he doesn't watch porn. He says that, like, he's like, he just goes through it. Because some guys like will like watch porn and then they just have to like go by and it doesn't matter who it is and they just jerk off. They're like, I've probably seen you, but I don't really know.
Right.
That,
they don't catalog names of porn stars.
But for sure, it's, if someone, there's probably somebody out there that has, they didn't tell me the information now, but in my comments, I'm going to show up and be like, oh, you remember that time? No. But yeah, that's just weird. Like, I just feel like, because then it's like a fan, like, I don't know, like you want someone to be your fan, but you don't want to be like their fan. Like,
yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. It's like I want you
talking
like,
in code. I don't know if you know private talk, but it's you know what I mean. It's just that feeling you get where it's like, it's not that it's not comfortability because you feel like whatever, but it's just like it's kind of invasion of privacy, which sounds weird because we choose to do sex work and we've done that, and I don't have a problem with people watching it, but I have a problem with people withholding information because I want to know what's going on immediately because then I have the option and the choice to set my boundaries how I want to move forward, and I would be okay with you saying, hey, I watched it before if we've had that conversation in the beginning moving forward. But if you tell me we're a month in and you're like watching over me, or I found that you're watching my porn, I'm gonna maybe feeling it's a little strange.
Yeah, it is weird. I dated a guy that I was with for over a year, and there was a couple times, I remember the first big time that like we were apart because he like went to visit family at Christmas or something, and so we didn't see each other for like 2 weeks. And when he came back from that trip, I remember him, and this was during the time period where I was not actively in porn, but he knew that I had been before. Mm-hmm. And he had also, like, we'd had conversations where he was like, I'd be uncomfortable if I saw your scenes, but like, I don't judge and I'm fine with it.
Yeah,
and
right,
like,
he's jerking off to him.
Oh, he came back from that trip and he was like, I missed you so much, I watch your porn scenes every day. And like, and I had no problem with that. It was that he had all this shit where he was like acting like he was guilty about it and like he was troubled by it. And I was like, you brought this upon yourself.
Like it's your problem.
You actively
now.
Googled this.
Like it's your problem. Hey, I jerked off to you and I have a feel away about it. Okay, well that's your problem. You jerked off to me, homie. Like deal with yourself. Yeah, guys are funny about it. Yeah, that's just weird. I mean, I don't know. I guess I teeter the line, you know what I mean? It's like where it's like, if you send a personal video to someone or if it's just like work video. Like, I feel like if I'm sending to you, it's okay. But if you're just watching my porn while you can fuck me, I don't know. Maybe just don't tell me. I feel like I'm better with not knowing information. As long as it doesn't like, interfere into my like sex life, where you're still fucking me and not just thinking about fucking me.
God, that would be I haven't experienced that, and I'm glad I haven't been there, but that would actually be like a nightmare scenario, as if I dated someone and they were like, no babe, not interested in sex, but then I like 2 hours later I walk in on them jerking off to my porn.
They're fucking my fleshlight in the corner. No, I don't need you. I got this fucking toy of mine. It doesn't. I always say like what I was selling it, my fleshlight. I'm like, it's like the best version of me. I was like, I never have headaches. I'm always ready to go, and easy cleanup. You definitely need it. It's definitely
that's the best way to sell it.
Yes, private talk. You better be having my fleshlight out there. There's pussy and ass. I know, you guys. We don't talk about those things here, but we do here today because it's after dark. After dark, we do naughty things. Have you ever had where it's like meeting people where it's like, I don't know who you are, and then they say your name, like your porn name? That's been a recent one of mine. They're like, this person started talking to me. I went to the beach by myself. I've been in this whole thing of like taking myself out, and like, self-love, but like dates that I would do, would want to do with my significant other. So like I'm doing that. So I'm like journaling, I'm doing my own thing. I'm like in my own little, trying to be in my own setting. And this guy comes up and he's like, is the water cold? I'm like, I don't know. I haven't been in. And he was like, you haven't been in? I'm like, no, mind you, I just got out. But I didn't want to talk to him. I didn't want to talk to anybody. And he was like, so where are you from? I'm like, California. Like, and he's talking, and I'm like, and I'm being very short with him because I was like, hey, I'm like having a self day. Like I'm trying to journal. I'm like trying to do my own thing, which sounds super LA. I'm like, I'm meditating. I'm reading a book, an audio book. Like it just sounded whatever. But anyways, that's the setting. And he's still not getting the point. And then he's like, I don't know what else he said. He was like, wait a minute. And then I was like, all right, well, I'm gonna go. Like, or like basically meeting him because I have a whole setup. I can't go anywhere.
Right.
And he's like, wait, don't I know you? And
Oh,
he's
God.
like, Alexis Texas?
You can tell that he's been waiting for his time to say it the whole time, right?
He's been for 10 minutes talking to me about bullshit I don't want to hear. And I'm just like, again, mind you, I'm putting myself out there. I'm single. I'm trying to like do the right thing and not make everyone go away. But this was not the one to be like in that situation. Yeah. So I was like, he's like, Alexis Texas. Like I just knew it was you. And then he's like, can I take a picture? And I was like, and then I was like, sure, let me take a picture. So I took a picture. And then he has the audacity to be like, can I take a picture of your ass? I'm like, absolutely not. I was like, he's like, I'm so sorry. He's like, I'm sorry. He's like, I had to ask. I was like, you know what? I feel you. At least it doesn't hurt to ask, whatever. I'm like, just leave me the fuck alone. So then he left. But it's those situations like that where it's like, you knew who I was in the beginning. And again, it's not like I would have like, how would that even played out? Say I would have liked him.
Right.
And then like, he's going to wait till what? And then he's going to be like, oh yeah, I do know you, Alexis Texas. No. God. Guys, just be honest. I feel like more people just need to learn how to communicate and not like, I feel like people think they want to lie to you. And then it's like, for whose good? Your own, not mine. Yeah. It's not hurting me.
Yeah, it's fucking weird. And like, I mean, because I've had that too, where someone, obviously it's like, I found out that they recognized me and then they just didn't say anything about it. And I feel like it reflects more on them, right? Because it's like a guy who thinks like, oh, if I just tell her that I know that I recognize her from porn, she'll think I'm weird and it'll be awkward. And I'm like,
for me, I think it's ballsy enough. I mean, not ballsy, I guess. It's sexy enough to me that you have enough confidence to come up to me, because that's a plus. Most people won't even do that. So I'm willing to talk to you, and I'm very nice. But it comes to a point when for me anyways, within the first like 30 seconds, I know if I'm vibing you or not. Yeah. And I just don't know if it's just me with energies, how I feel. I'm just like, okay, so I'm gonna be like really like, okay, I'll entertain this, or I'm like, get the fuck out of my face. It's one way. I'm a Gemini and I'm Puerto Rican too, so it's like, I'm a little feisty sometimes, especially I'm trying to journal and do my own thing.
When's your birthday? You just had a birthday.
I did on May 25th.
Oh my God, yes, I'm June 20th. Oh, I'm a Gemini too. Yay, Geminis are very overrepresented in the adult industry.
We're the most awesome people ever. We have a lot of Geminis on my team here, so we really like Geminis because we're just good energy. For me, that's why, people say just because of like the Texas thing too, whatever, but I'm a straight shooter. I'd rather be honest and upfront and just lay it on the line. You can choose not to like it. I don't want to offend anybody by any means, but I sometimes just speak my truth. Well, no, all the time speak my truth. All the time.
You just lay it out.
Speaking of truth, we're going to start and play one of my favorite parts of the episode called Truth with Texas. Yes. We've got 4 cards. Each card is an ace, and each ace is a different suited question.
Ooh, this is
fun. Are you ready to play with me, Siri?
I'm very ready.
Yeah, you like that? You ready to play with me?
I would love to play with you, Alexis.
Yes, you looked me in the eyes. That means it's real private talk. It's going down. All right, Truth with Texas, my favorite game. Let's get to know you a little bit more. All right, pick a card and let us know what it is.
The ace of, that's spades, right?
It is the ace of spades, which is our favorite here at Private Talk. It's because it's a naughty question. Oh. Are you a naughty girl?
I am. I'm so naughty. Someone punish me.
Ooh. Have you ever used a toy during intercourse?
Oh, all the time. Yes.
What is this toy that you have on demand?
Oh, a Hitachi wand. Well, technically it's a Doxy wand, is specifically the make and model that I use, but like I am
like a car.
It is. It's just big, powerful vibrators, but I like all kinds of toys. I would say the types of toys I use the most during sex are butt plugs and vibrators.
All the time, like it's a go-to.
The vibrators almost all the time, like in my personal life, not necessarily if I'm shooting scenes, because sometimes it doesn't work for the scene or like the sound creates issues. So personal life is very much vibrator almost pretty much every time. And then a lot of the times butt plugs. Yeah.
Spit or swallow?
Swallow. Always. I don't think I've ever spat. Like literally spat out cum. I don't think I've ever done that.
Never? Is it like you're going to be in timeout if you do it?
It just doesn't seem necessary. Like,
why waste it?
Exactly.
Why waste it? Lube or spit?
Lube.
Have you ever masturbated in public?
Yes.
Where?
Nowhere too risky. I've definitely masturbated in a dressing room, like,
just by myself with the door closed. Or were you excited, like you got sexually aroused by trying something on and you just was like?
Probably both.
I like it. I like the honesty. So you've masturbated in several dressing rooms all across America.
Masturbating across America.
I like this.
But like,
tell me more.
Probably a thing. It's technically, it's like semi-public. Is like if I'm in the car and I'm driving, like there's a thing that happens where I will actually just get inexplicably like horny while driving, and especially if I'm like stuck in traffic.
Do you have like a vibrator in your glove box for all emergencies?
I literally, so it's been a minute because I don't have to like with COVID, right? I'm not going anywhere, so like
you stay strapped with vibrators. Other people have guns. I had strapped with vibrators, homie.
I literally used to have a little like palm vibrator that was in my purse like all the time.
Where do you use that? Everywhere?
Well, I started out carrying it because like of just not know, like sometimes I'd be like last minute plans going to my boyfriend's house, and so I was like, well, I want to have it in case, and then
in case he couldn't get you off, or in case
oh no, like just in case I end up going to his house, like this wasn't the plan, right? So like I'm out, and then he's like, hey, want to come over? And I'm
always
like, sure,
prepared,
but I don't want to drive back home to get my vibrator, so I just keep it in my purse.
You're so cute. That is so funny. I don't feel like I've done anyone to like fully admit that, nor I just feel like I don't really feel like I have a portable enough vibrator to go, and I'd have sex at my house if I was going anywhere. But I feel you're always on the go, ready to go. Plan and action.
A friend of mine had a moving away party pre-COVID over a year ago, and I went to, it was at a restaurant, and there was like 30 or 40 people showing up at this restaurant for a moving party, and I had brought her like a gift card, and I was wearing a fanny pack. And I opened my fanny pack to give her present that I had put in there in like a card. And there was, and I forgot because it was one of those times where I was like, I think I'm going to my boyfriend's after this. So I had a full-size 8-ounce bottle of lube in my fanny pack. And
this is out in Kentucky?
And I was like, oh, hold on.
This is out in Kentucky. They're like, girl, where are you going with that 8-ounce lube?
Yep. The best part was my friend didn't question it. She was like, oh, yep, that's all right. That makes sense.
You're going to his house, huh? I like that. Mm-hmm. So being in the adult industry, I'm sure like boyfriends, people say anything, does size matter?
Yes. What's hilarious is I used to lie to
yourself?
Well, yeah, kind of. I mean,
or maybe you just weren't in your own truth yet.
I think I didn't have the level of experience that I have now, and I didn't know myself as well. But I'm fortunate enough now that
you've just had a lot of good dick, and so now you want to compare it to?
Yeah, and so size, I would be totally lying if I said it didn't matter. Like, to me, yeah, it matters, but also it's not the most important thing. Like, it's one of many factors.
Could you stay with someone with horrible sex? Would you stay with somebody who had horrible sex?
Absolutely not, no.
Okay, so what is your ideal perfect dick? Describe us the dick that you want. Maybe you have. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, so
she's like about that.
No, like literally, I know I just sound like I'm just coming to here to just like sing my boyfriend's fucking praises, but like legitimately, like he has like probably the best dick that I've ever like. I didn't actually realize. I mean, I always knew sex was important to me, right? But like until like this is probably the first person that I've dated in my adulthood that I have vibed with that well, that I'm like, this is fucking like the sex every time is really good, and
it just
like
gets better and better. But that's also because like with the like feelings too.
It is. Oh, it's 100%.
But you gotta like start with a good, with a good piece, and then you know what you communicate with each other. You know what things like, and then you pay attention to your partner, and then it's just amazing.
Yes.
Amazing.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, I think the perfect size is something that's big enough that it, like, kind of has that extra oomph every time that I'm like, oh, hey, boy.
Like, that means the girth? Or
yeah, like both girth and length. Like, okay. I would say I like an above average size dick, both in girth and length. But I want it to ride that line where it's like, it's not too big to where, like, if we were to get horny twice in one day, like, I don't want to be able to, like...
Out of commission.
Right. I don't want to be put out of commission by a dick that's, like, massive. So it's, like, that riding the line of, like, satisfyingly big, but not overwhelming.
What's your size? What's that over average number? Because, you're like...
I don't know.
How big is your boy? 8'9"?
He, like that... Like that long. That's like 10 inches. He's like 10 inches. It is very long.
Impressive.
I've my body type. I feel like this is a thing that like women's bodies are different, right? Mm-hmm. And no two are the same, and everyone's got their different limits. But I find that for me, quite a bit of extreme length fits better than extreme girth. So So I'm happy. Like I can do a lot of length, but like I have some pretty hard limits when it comes to girth. But like here-ish and then like that-ish. So good.
It's a good oomph.
Pretty solid.
That's the oomph, I can tell.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna get to another card.
All right. Ace of Hearts.
Ace of Hearts is a romantic question.
Oh, I like.
Would you consider yourself a romantic?
Yes.
What is the most romantic thing you've done for a partner?
I enjoy being extremely generous with my partners. And I mean, it's just like anyone in my life that I love. I don't have to be
generous
dating them,
sexually, with like gifts, with like what is it? Gifts of affirmation. That's like
yeah,
gifts,
I
like
love the
love
love languages. Yes, like I am into the love language thing. Like I've done the quiz multiple times, and like
what is your love language?
Changed slightly over the years, which I think is normal. But my top love language has always, like my number one has always consistently been physical touch.
Okay.
And then right behind that is quality time, and I think. I want to say my third one, because it's like the first two are really strong, and then the other three that come behind it are like kind of, you could substitute them, like they kind of got even scores or something. So I think my third one though was
important, but not as important.
Yeah, like words of affirmation and like gift receiving is always the last. Like I don't give a fuck if someone gives me presents, but like gift giving and words of affirmation are like 3 and 4. But yeah, like in terms of like, that's what I want to receive from someone, but what I want to give to someone is usually like, what's funny is gift receiving is like my last priority as far as what I want to get out of a relationship, but it's one of the first things I do for other people. And it's not like physically like, oh, I got you a present. It could just be like, I just like surprising people with things. So like I just like I'm always thinking of people in my life and like, what little like trinket can I find for this person? Like I always think about little things I can find and like surprise them with, you know?
I like that. Where is your favorite place to be kissed?
I think like, well, probably like just making out, like, you know,
you're big,
traditional
like, into making out?
on my mouth. Yeah. Yeah. But like, if I had to choose a place that's like not the obvious, like kissing on the mouth, then I like right behind my ear, like in the nape of my neck is solid.
How old were you when you got your first kiss?
I was 12 when I got my first kiss.
Horrible scenario? Was it like all the magical stars that you wanted it to be, or was it like...
It was terrible and awkward. It was this boy that I had a really big crush on in 6th grade, and we lived in the same neighborhood, and we both like walked to and from school with like a group of other kids in my neighborhood, and my girlfriends, like in 6th grade, they knew that I had a crush on this boy, and one of them thought it would be really funny to like basically like dare us to kiss each other, right? So we're walking home, we're like in the middle of the park that we like walked through to get back to my house, and he seemed like really like dismissive, and it made me, I was like really sad because I thought he didn't like me back, and I found out of course years later like he did, and it was just, he was completely just frozen and paralyzed with
awkward
being
as
nervous.
you, but just like their own set of feelings because you're just same age.
Yeah, but it was basically like these two other girls that we were friends with like egging us on, and then me and him just standing, and him being like straight as a board, like, and then me just like.
Did I do it right?
It wasn't like it was, there was no tongue. It was a very like quick, awkward, like, and then it was done.
What is something that you would say is an important lesson you've learned in a past relationship?
Ooh, to trust myself, to trust my own instincts. I learned that lesson more than once, honestly, and it's something that I feel like, you know what? I can admit it took me a minute to learn that one, but once I learned it really well, and I no longer doubt myself and my intuition about other people, because I realized that the times that I did in the past were big mistakes. You know, and I was right all along.
To the red flags.
Exactly. Yeah.
But that's, I mean, it's part of, I feel like you can't always be so hard on yourself too, but it's good to have that awareness because it's like, you know, and still being, you know, so young too. 33 is a very like impactful age. A lot of things start coming into light, you know, spiritually, like around your world, like you're just kind of more settled and have more experience. So it's just, you know, it's part of evolution and like what it is. But I feel like it's it's better to go through like those little bumps now, like I feel like early on, than it is to like live your whole life and never find it, because a lot of people don't, you know what I mean? So I think that it's really cool to have that awareness of that right now.
Yeah, I feel very grateful for it. Absolutely.
Have you ever had sex on a beach?
I haven't. I feel like I should. Maybe
it's
I will.
Summertime. There's still a lot of time.
I'm supposed to be going to the Nude beach soon.
Where's this Nude beach? Tell Private Talk.
I don't know. Like,
it's
so I don't
LA,
know exactly. No, it's like an hour away.
Okay.
Like, I don't know exactly the location, but it's like.
Is it like Malibu area-ish, or?
It's north. I want to say it's near Santa Barbara.
Oh, okay, that way. Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. Because I know I talked to a couple people, and my friends and I were like, let's go to the Nude beach. But we were trying to decide if it's like San Diego, or I think we're going to do the one up north because it's closer than driving all the way to San Diego.
Yeah. It's a fun road trip, though. It's summertime. You know, you get the hot girl summer.
It is hot girl summer. It's always hot girl summer.
There you go, girl. Get it.
Hot girl year.
Hot girl year.
Or just hot girl life.
All right. Next card.
Diamonds.
Diamonds. It's a spicy question.
Ooh.
They're all a little spicy. We like that here at Private Talk. Let's see. Your craziest place you've ever had sex?
Took a sip at a bad moment there.
Here, we'll give you some time.
Thank you. I hate to be disappointing, but I actually haven't had sex in like super crazy circumstances. Like, I've had sex in cars many times, and that's probably about as crazy as it gets.
No, like outside, like, you know.
I've had sex in the woods, like in the middle of a kayaking trip.
Okay.
So I can tell you the craziest place I had a really great opportunity to have sex that I didn't because I was too nervous about getting caught, and I have regretted it since then.
Yes.
Underneath the Prime Meridian line in Greenwich, England.
Okay.
Where the literal Prime Meridian is. Like, it's like the...
That's an experience.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people would say that you...
I know.
So what made you pass it up? You were just too scared to get caught?
I was, yeah.
Not trying to go to jail there? I mean...
Exactly. I was like, I'm in a foreign country. I really don't want to get arrested for like indecent exposure or have to
You're like,
be
just stick
registered
it in,
as a
hurry up,
sex
please.
offender.
Please, just do it.
I wanted to so bad, and I just didn't. And you know, maybe it was still for the best. Who knows what would have happened?
I think there's another surprise coming around the corner somewhere. It's gonna be big.
I just got it now that COVID's over. I have to travel more and I have to go to crazy places so I can have some more good weird location sex stories.
I agree. I support this message. I support this message. Ever dated somebody older?
Yes,
How much
I've
older?
dated someone that was roughly twice my age. When I was 23, I was dating someone who was 46, which is, I guess, literally exactly twice my age at the time. Yeah. It didn't work out, so I
he's not here
personally
today.
have a hard age limit at this point. Like, I will not date men
wouldn't
that
go back?
much older.
Are you more into like a little bit older, your same age, younger? Does it matter at this point?
I mean,
I know you have a current boyfriend.
Yeah, and he's my age. He's 1 year older, so it's about the same. But like it, yeah. I mean, I would say I don't. My hard limits are like more of a generational thing, you know. Like, it's like if I met a guy and I really was into him and he's 40, I'm not gonna be like, oh no, you're more than 6
Can't
years
date
older
you.
than me. Like,
It's never gonna happen.
it's not like that. It's more of a vibe thing. But like, I will generally say that, like, you know, I feel like I learned in that relationship, like, the power dynamic inherently was tipped in his favor just because he was literally twice my age, and that ended up being a big problem for me. So I wouldn't go back to that again. But like, that being said, if someone's more like a little older than me, it's not a problem. It's not going to turn me off.
Open.
Yeah.
Sex position you would like to try? your experience. Is there something that we could try, or have you done them all?
I mean, I would like to do like something with like weird sex furniture, I guess. Like, I haven't
What's weird
used
sex furniture, like a swing or something, or like a suspension.
Like suspension would be really good. Like, I'm into like a little bit of bondage in my personal life. I haven't ever gotten super duper experimental with it, but like one of my like fantasy scenarios definitely involves like the rope bondage where you're then also suspended. Like, and that just seems like a really, really cool experience.
Is that something that you have never done? I mean, that you wouldn't even think of doing? Is that something completely polar opposite of who you are naturally, and that's why you want to like gear toward it, or is it just something you want to try?
Oh, I definitely, it's something that I just want to try. Like, I have a very natural interest in it. Like, I enjoy, like, a little bit of power play and sex.
Yeah.
I think it's very fun. So it's definitely, like, an inherent, like, interest of mine sexually. And it's just something that requires, like, someone who knows what they're doing to, like, rig the ropes.
For sure.
And the opportunity has never presented itself. So I've never done it yet.
Is there something that's completely off limits in the bedroom?
Ooh, that's a good one. I mean, yes. Like, I don't know if I should say it because I think it's just so gross to even like think or talk about. But like any like scat related play, like obviously that's a fetish that there are people out there who
you
have.
Would think it should be a given because I would be like, I wouldn't even think of that. But yeah, I definitely not into any of that.
I know.
Definitely not. Definitely. But yeah, people are into that.
Yeah.
I mean, there is all
People
kinds
are into
of
everything.
fetishes. Speaking of fetishes, do you have a fetish of your own?
So I kind of do. I joke that I have a breeding fetish, and I don't really because
Explain. You want to breed multiple
I just really,
children?
I really like cream pies, right? But I don't actually want to.
I like
be
how
pregnant.
you're like, I really love cream pies.
I love them. I think they're great.
You should with our last guest and his pull-up game, pregnancy. I don't know, pull-up.
I'm not gonna lie. I was listening to it and I was like a little bit turned on, but then he was talking about like actually getting girls pregnant, and it's where it becomes like a realistic.
But
like,
I don't really know if he was.
I don't
was that
think
like a play on word? Because I don't think he's getting all these girls pregnant.
I don't think he is either. I think it's his brand that he talks about it like that, but he's not actually. Because I'm like, boy, you would have so much child support to be paying if you were really doing that.
Yeah, I was confused. I tapped out of that one. I just was like, no, not subscribing, not buying. Like I just no, especially like in a lot of ways. I'm not even there. It was just that part. Have you ever used food during intimacy?
No, not really. I mean, not in a very like specific way. I might have done the thing where you like sexily feed someone a strawberry, but like not. But you're not like bringing like
cucumbers and like fucking yourself with them.
I mean, I did fuck myself with a cucumber once, and then I was like,
satisfying?
I think I picked a cucumber that was a little too big because the next day I was like, damn,
why am I so sore?
That got me. It got me good.
That's hilarious. That's the best thing I've heard.
I did it for the OnlyFans. Sometimes you got to do it for the OnlyFans.
Did it for the OnlyFans. I like that. So please support your OnlyFans. Where can we find? What is your OnlyFans tag?
I've got two. I've got a free page and a VIP page, and my free one is Siri Dahl free, SIRIDAHL free, and then my paid one is Siri Porn Star, just all as one word.
Siri Porn Star. You got it straight into the point. What's a little sneak peek of what you have on your OnlyFans that we can be enticed to go and get a subscription?
So like a huge feature of my OnlyFans recently is that I did a boy-girl scene with the performer Dread, which, awesome. You know,
I love him. He's
also
awesome.
A Texas boy. Like
I didn't know that part. I met him at an AVN at Jules Jordan's booth a couple years ago. But he's just such a sweet energy and just very like, you just want to hug him every time you see him.
I was going to say little. I was like, wait, no, that's the wrong word. He's a big teddy bear.
Yeah, for
he's
sure.
really sweet. And what's funny is it wasn't our first time getting in the sack together. It's just our first time on camera because like I met him in Texas before I ever started in the industry.
Oh, so there was like a whole storyline before.
Yeah, we literally I hooked up with him when I was totally a civilian. Like,
so was it like super random? Like, how did you just ran into him at like AVN or something? It was like, hey, wait, I fucked you before, and then like that, or like how did you find each other again? This porno romance that didn't become romantic.
I had the idea that I wanted to go out to LA and do porn, but back years ago when we had hooked up, and he knew that because I remember talking to him about it. But then like once I actually was in LA and I was actually doing porn, he like saw me in something.
Was he in the business at that point or not?
I feel like he might have shot a couple things,
or did
but
you
he wasn't.
Inspire him?
No, I think that he had already like dabbled a bit because
Okay.
he came from a background where he was like going to swinger
I like that word,
clubs and
dabble.
stuff.
You're dabbling your cock around in the industry. Dabble this dick around here. Little dick for you, little dick for you, dick for everyone. Private talk.
Diddling and dabbling around the porn industry. But from what I understand, like I think he'd just done some shoots then, but nothing like huge. And then it was around the same time, honestly, that I started. That I remember he came out, and then he started doing like now he does a lot of stuff with like Jules Jordan too. But Yeah, so it was just really funny. It was a long time coming, and we were joking about how, like, you know, we had sex with each other literally 10 years ago for the first time, and then finally we shoot something on camera.
Anniversary sex.
Yeah. And I mean, other than that, on my OnlyFans, I just have a ton of like personal life sex tapes. Like I do a lot of just day in the life. Like I like to share my daily life with my fans and like show them what I'm up to, and like you know, I shared like photos of my cats even, which
when it's getting to know you.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
People like that.
It's very personal.
Like it's very, you know, that's what, you know, what's great about fans is like everybody's, you know, lane is a little bit different. You always have people who like cater to you, but that's what's cool too, is because it's like they're also like what we spoke about the industry earlier is similar to us in some way.
Yes.
Not all of them, but you know what I mean? It's a community of like people that love you for who you are and what you know, everything, all your, you know, work that you've done from when you started, stopped, whatever. And it's cool to like see that kind of progression and see who kind of sticks around too, you know, and things like that. So I think that's really cool to get to that level, to see like, it's, you know, wild. Your own fan base, because now, you know, you're a content creator, but now you have your own OnlyFans, so it's your own, you're managing your own.
I'm in control. Site. It's fantastic.
In control, girl. You're always in control. That's right. I like that. All right, we've got one more card.
Alrighty. What's the last one?
It is a club.
Ace. Clubs.
We're kinky. Are you ready for a kinky question?
Okay, yes.
You're like, they're all been kinky,
because I feel like
Alexis.
we've gotten a little kinky already.
Well, that's why, you know, they're all
kinkier.
really, you know, spicy, naughty. You know, now it's kinky. The kinky time has come. Rough sex or sensual sex?
Ooh. So it'll depend on my mood in the given time, but I would say that my default option more often is probably going to be rough sex.
Rough sex, make it hurt.
Yeah.
What type of porn turns you on?
Ooh, I like unscripted things a lot, and it's probably because of being in the industry. Like it's, you know, because I know the behind the scenes thing. Like if something feels formulaic to me when I'm watching it, I will quickly lose interest.
Desensitized, that kind of thing.
Correct. Yeah. So, and it's also because like, you know, I also tend to watch a lot of amateur stuff, and that's just because, look, if I do watch porn to get off, I don't do it very often because, fortunately, it being my job, like,
you know, off all the time, girl. Yeah, ride that pony.
Exactly, but there's still the times when, like, you know, no one's like immediately available. Exactly, me time, and I'm like, I'm just gonna diddle myself, and I'm gonna watch some porn, and I tend to go for things that are
that bitch.
Exactly, and I go for things that are a little more amatured because I don't want to get into business mindset. So if I'm seeing people on camera that I do not know,
it's more like
my business brain doesn't turn
before
on.
It's like you're spying on people and you're like, I don't want to see them. Sorry.
Yeah.
Not in a bad way. It's just like, it just becomes jaded to a point.
Yeah.
What is the most number of times you've had sex in one day?
Like, oh God.
Sounds draining already. You haven't told us your number.
You said had sex though, because my brain immediately thought how many times I've come in one day, which is like an insane number.
You can tell us that number too.
It's like 40, over 40.
40 in one day?
Yeah.
Jesus, what were you doing all day?
Well, multiple orgasms. I mean, I can easily have like 10 orgasms
40?
in one session.
40. I like to come, but 40? What were you doing? Was it with a dick? Was it by yourself? Was it just all?
Oh, it was with my partner for sure. Yeah.
All day? Or like, tell us, paint this picture.
Well,
I need to know.
4 times. I mean, literally like 4 times in a day is like the most that I've had sex.
But you said 40.
It's literally about.
You said 40, 40.
No, coming in one day.
Yeah, but that's what I was saying.
So if I could have 4 sets. Oh my God.
But how does your pussy work and it's not broken? I'm like doing, this is TMI, but here at Private, but it's after dark, so I can spill it. No, but like I'm doing custom videos for my OnlyFans, and like I can only do so many fucking videos a day. I can only come so many times. 40 is a lot. How do you really come where it's not like dust coming out of there? It's like sprinkled dust and there's nothing coming out of the vagina. There comes a point that it's like, are you really coming?
There might have been some weed involved.
I mean,
I definitely find that I have more of a like, you know, thing if I'm a little.
But okay, so let's get down to business for a while. So, how many hours was this span? Was this 24 hours or was this like in a?
It would have been in a 24-hour span, not in like a one day. This could have been like my boyfriend and I were like, let's try to do this like 8 a.m. that day and then following 8 a.m. the next day. So it's like we could have sex when we wake up. We could have sex after lunch in the afternoon, have sex after dinner that night. You're not really late before we go to bed or something.
Okay. I get what you're saying. Yeah. So now let's break this question apart because now I'm back to my senses. How many times per session are you coming?
10, at least 10.
Because that matters.
Like
I was mistaken from the number, but if you think about it, because I can probably come sometimes in a session, and a session can last from 20 to 30 to like 45 to an hour and a half, depending on the person or the situation. But I'm at least coming 5 times, at least 5 to 6. 5 really, because I'm old, but not really.
5 is my average,
but like I'm a naturally horny person. If I find someone that I'm into, whatever, we're fucking. So you know what I mean. And then the next time I'm doing that, and I also know my body so well is that I'm gonna come multiple times because why are we doing this? Like this is why we're here. Like let's go. Okay, so you said at least 10 times per session.
Yes.
Okay, that makes that
it adds up. It really adds up.
It evens the playing field out a little bit. But yeah, that's a lot. That's more. I think coming for me, I would probably say 12-ish. Only because I had like an ex that was like really like trying to like break a record so he could men are just stupid and they make these dumb fucking games that mean no point, they're pointless, and they're like, I'm gonna win and be the best. It's a
point of pride.
Well, I'm gonna fuck you the best and the most times you've ever come in your life because nobody's done it. Something like that. And so I think I can see 12.
Did you make him a little badge to iron onto his
I need
jacket?
A badge after him fucking like, this is a prize, honey. Like 12 times you're welcome. Welcome to the party. This is what we talk about here. I love it. All right. Is there any question that you would like to ask Miss Texas while we're here?
God. Wow.
Speechless. Like I like that private talk.
Do you miss Texas?
Do I miss Texas? That's a loaded question for me. Only because I go to Texas quite often. My family's still there. I went to see my sister for her birthday, and I got stuck there for like 2 weeks during the ice storm that they had. That everything was shut down, and that was not cool, Texas. So I haven't been back since then. I was like, I'm not getting stuck there. I literally was stuck. There was nothing you could do. I've been in like really horrible weather from Canada to all over the world and been stuck places for like a reason. There was ice, okay? We just have never had anything like that, nor did they have equipment to like service anything.
They don't know what to do.
There was like rolling power outages. Like it was terrible. I was trying to leave for like a week.
Oh wow!
Yeah, it was intense.
Yeah,
but I am going.
From Texas
but I am going back. I'm going back in July for my niece's birthday. So I will be going back. It's summertime. There's nothing. Yeah. Hopefully, nothing goes. I'm not speak that into existence. But no, I do love Texas. I do miss it. For me, it's more family oriented, you know what I mean? And I am single and I'm not ready for that settling down moment in my life, or have found somebody to kind of do that with me. So maybe eventually I'll make my way back to Texas, but right now it's just nice to visit.
Yeah, that's how I feel about it too.
Yeah, it's nice. But it's nice to go back. It's definitely a reset, like you said before. It's like there's certain things just like you miss about home, or like, and it's really good to just be kind of just normal and sit and like, you know what I mean? Like people don't expect anything from you. Actually, that's a lie. I do more chores and like I'm like my sisters.
It's a different expectation.
True, but it's just like it's very just like free, normal, I guess, in a sense. Yes. You know what I mean? So, but I definitely, don't take anything for granted. I appreciate my life and everything that, I've come to and work really hard to be. But it is also nice to like go back and just be like, let's just hear quiet and crickets and see lightning bugs and like fun stuff. You know what I mean? So that's always fun times to go back to that. So I'm looking forward to that because it's summertime and those are when those things happen more apparent.
And it's really beautiful there in the summer. I
just
hot,
like the quiet, the solitude of just, it's kind of just peaceful. You can see stars. And it's like, I'm very into like the whole astrological point of it all, but yeah, I like that a lot too. But yes, I appreciate you so much. Thank you for taking your time and coming on Private Talk and letting us get to know each other a little bit more. Is there anywhere we can plug your social medias and your website that we can support you?
Yeah, my main website is SiriDahl.com. It links to everything else, and I've got like a little merch store there, links to my OnlyFans, etc. On Instagram, I'm therealsiri.ps, and on Twitter, I'm therealsirips without the dot.
All right, Private Talk, you heard her. Make sure you go and support Siri Dahl. Thanks for coming on, and thanks for supporting Private Talk. Until next time.